Welcome to Words About Stuff, a podcast where I talk to awesome people about the stuff they love. I'm your host, Amy the Copywriter, and the awesome person I'm talking to today is me. And you. So the topic today is about AI and how people are using it and how it's annoying me. But first, what makes me awesome today is I left a 5-star Google review. We went to a museum, surprise, surprise. And there was a tour. It was an interactive tour. Like, you had to try to answer questions, and the tour guide was bringing you through. It was very cool. And at the end of the tour, there's a QR code on the door. If you happen to run a museum or anything else, having a QR code at the end is a great idea, because people have finished it, they scan it, and then it brought up the Google review page. It said, please leave us a review, blah, blah. Fine, no problem. 5 stars, had fun, thanks tour guide. Reviews like that really help small businesses or local people or authors. Anytime you can do a 5-star, thanks, had fun, it helps. And when I looked on their website, they had several 1-star reviews from when they were closed, I guess, or like their hours said they were open. And so their star rating was a little lower than I thought it should be. And having a review from someone who had fun, someone who can say, I had fun because of this and that, and if you like this and that, you will also like this tour. Anyway, leaving a 5-star review is a good thing you can do if you had fun somewhere. I started thinking while I was talking if I've ever left a 1-star review, and I totally have. Or a zero? Can you leave 0 stars? I would have left negative 1 billion stars if I could have, for only one company. I don't remember what they were called, but either way, they don't exist anymore. They were a moving company that we had that moved us from the West Coast to the East Coast. God, they were terrible at everything they did. It was so bad. The thing that I remember the most is that they were like 2 months late bringing our stuff. Not ideal. And that they cost thousands of dollars more than they quoted us, because when we first hired them, they looked at our delivery site with a satellite or whatever and said, oh yeah, the truck can definitely fit in there. We'll be able to deliver your stuff. And then a random amount of time is passing. I can't get a hold of them. I don't know where our stuff is, whatever. Then the driver calls me and says, I can't fit on that street. You either need to pay a couple $1,000 more or I'm turning around and bringing this stuff back to the West Coast. It was insane. So we had to pay more money. They brought like their girlfriends to drop the stuff off. They were all just kind of laying around in our house. It was so weird. And then they asked for more money. We paid the amount and they asked for more money to pay their girlfriends. So that was a 1-star review, or 0 stars, or negative 1 million stars. That was a Better Business Bureau complaint, right? But of course, I don't know if this happens anywhere else, but it does seem that moving companies appear, do a bad job, contract out, whatever they're doing, and then disappear, because they were gone. By the time I lodged my complaint and did my review, they had disappeared into the wild blue yonder under a different name, carrying on. So 5-star reviews. Yay. Let's do more of those. Let's have more 5-star experiences. I'm still sad about that moving company. I'm sure some of you can relate. Moving is already garbage. So when someone makes it more garbage, I think we remember those things. But I'd rather replace that memory with cool tour that I went on with my family and learned some things. We'll see if I can do that. So, what makes you awesome, the audience? Liking, subscribing, and sharing the podcast? Maybe doing a review for some business you frequent? And maybe you can comment with the last time you saw AI and knew it, or what you're afraid of in regards to AI. There's a lot of things to be afraid of, or what you like about it. There's many sides to this coin that's flipping in the air. Who's that guy who flips the coins? He goes like this. Harvey Dent? Let me look it up. Two-Face? Am I right? Am I getting it right? So, the main topic. Here's my thesis. AI pitches are trash. The bad ones, trash. The mediocre ones, trash. And the good ones, trash. What do I mean by trash? I don't want it. We could use less of it. We could have an entire industry related to reduce, reuse, recycle because we don't want this in our society anymore. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe AI pitches are amazing. Maybe they're working for someone, but they're not working for me. So let's go to the beginning of my sentence. What is a pitch? If you have a public-facing email, like I do for this podcast or my business, right? For podcasting, copywriting, I have emails that are out there in the world, and people know what my job is, and they will pitch me their services. This isn't inherently a bad thing. If somebody emailed me tomorrow and said they could mow our lawn and they were great lawnmowers, I would be happy. If they were a real person and they're offering something I need and I can do research on them and they seem legitimate and we can talk back and forth, that would be totally fine. Pitching itself is not the problem. People were already not great at pitching. So some of these might not even be AI. They might just be people doing it badly, but I'll show you and you make the determination. There's a few tells that I am noticing, not just that they're terrible, but also they're terrible in a specific way, and they are so much more frequent right now. The tens of viewers I have do not justify the number of pitches I get. So what are they pitching me? For this podcast, they'll pitch me that they could make me better thumbnails. I'm sure someone could. And if you're good at thumbnails, go ahead and pitch me if you're a real human being. Because I'm not great at them. It's not the part I like doing. I will go and research it more later and try to make them all better, but right now it's just a thing that I barely do. Other people pitch me that they could give me better SEO, search engine optimization. That means if you put certain words in your title or your description of your video, more people might see it. That's the theory. Same with websites. If your website is best handyman in Houston, Texas, then when people search handyman Houston, Texas, you might come up. That's a general, simple way of understanding it. If your handyman business is called like Ravens Watch 24, you might not rank in the same way unless you do a lot more work on your website to differentiate who you are, etc. So could my titles be better and more Mr. Beast-like? Yeah, maybe, I guess. I like to balance SEO with ethics. I don't want to clickbait. I know that's more effective. Okay. That's not what we're going for. They pitch me that they can get me subscribers, and I have yet to understand how they can do that, promise results without botting. Botting is when you pay and bots subscribe to your channel, watch your videos, whatever. Maybe someone out there can do that, but personally, I don't guarantee anything. I don't say, my copy will get you $400 per email sent out. I'm never going to say that. I don't know that. I can tell you that me writing copy for you has a better chance of making you money because I've done this before. I've seen the results. I've tested things. But every product is different. Every brand is different. Every audience is different. And what you really need to know are the principles of something, and then test it out with that audience. Someone emailing me and saying, I can get you 1,000 subscribers next month. You can? You don't know me. You don't know my subscribers. You don't know what you're doing. If someone comes at me with questions, I tend to trust them more. If they say, hey, I like to help new YouTubers get subscribers. I've done it before. Here's an example. I'd love to talk to you and see if I can help. I am way more interested in that person because someone saying immediately, I can get you 1,000 subscribers. It reminds me of infomercials or snake oil salesmen or weird fad diets like lose 10 pounds in a week by doing a lot of cocaine or whatever was in those pills, right? Danger, danger, Will Robinson. I don't want that. So let's take a look at some pitches from my actual inbox. See if you can spot the AI. If you want to read the full unBlog, I'm going to link it in the description, or if you want to subscribe on Substack, it's free to do. Eventually I'll get all that put together somewhere, but This will be the audio version of my ramblings that are written down over there. So the first one, is this the first one? Yes. Okay. There is a mechanic in branded emails, email platforms that businesses use. You've seen the results in your inbox. You have. It'll say, hey, Amy, right? It looks like it's to me. Personalization is important and cool, and it worked for a long time, but it was never a person on the other side typing out, hey, Amy, right? We knew that. Even back when it was through letters, right? They print out a letter. Hey, Amy, thanks for giving money to the NSPCA, blah, 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 blah. They printed those individual letters, but like a computer took your name and put it there and sent it out. I don't have any problem with this. If I've given my name to a company, they can use it. That gets my attention more than if a company I haven't interacted with is using my name. I don't like that. That's a little weird, but it's still okay as if I have a public facing name like Amy the Copywriter. If they say, hey, Amy the Copywriter, I understand that. That's fine. It doesn't feel super invasive. It feels okay. But if they're going to put like my first, middle, and last name and my date of birth, that's going to feel weird. So there's a scale here of personalization and finding information and then using it in an email, right? Here's the first one. Hello, Words About Stuff podcast YouTuber. Hope you're doing well. I recently checked your channel, and honestly, I see strong monetization potential. Your content is good, but with the right SEO plus monetization strategy, your growth could be much faster. Okay. I think this is AI because Words About Stuff podcast YouTuber is a very strange thing to type there. I mean, it could be a person. It could be a person who didn't take the time to listen to the first 30 seconds of any episode or look at the screen because it says Amy the Copywriter. That's all it would take. Looking at the screen when my face is on it or listening to the first 30 seconds where I say, hi, I'm Amy the Copywriter. If they had done either of those steps, they would have been able to put my name there. So this tells me they didn't do either of those steps. Maybe there's a spreadsheet somewhere or AI has gobbled up a bunch of information and it says Words About Stuff podcast, which is the name of the podcast. They've scraped that. And then they found it on YouTube. So they put the word YouTuber after it. That's my guess. I'm glad they think my content is good, but I don't think they've watched any of it. I'll take the compliment though. The next one says, hi, hosted. Your conversation with appearance on the words was sharp. Getting that caliber of guest on the mic says a lot about Words About Stuff. What you're building with Words About Stuff clearly resonates. The society and culture angle is specific enough to own. So this is obviously like lost in translation as well as AI feeling. Here's what I think it is. So it says hi, and then it has a field to fill in. And they picked hosted because there's somewhere on one of the podcast platforms, it says hosted by Amy the Copywriter. And other people probably just put their name there. They don't put the word hosted by. So I think they're betting on the first word in that field to be the person's first name. It didn't work for me. And they haven't looked at my channel. And they didn't even look at this email, obviously, before they sent it, right? Who is named hosted? And if your name is hosted, comment below. Here's what the email would say that's going out to everyone that they send this to, right? Hi, name. Your conversation with, I don't know what they've done wrong here, was sharp. Getting that caliber of guest on the mic says a lot about name of podcast. What you're building with name of podcast clearly resonates. This part is a category that you have to choose on podcasting platforms. You pick if you're like sports or society and culture, which is what I put, or philosophy or something, right? I picked a category, so they're just pulling that information. The category you chose, angle, is specific enough to own. This is, it's just words, blah, word. Is there a better way to say word vomit? That's what it feels like to me. They didn't take the time to read this email, but I'm supposed to take the time to read this email, and I'm supposed to reply, and I'm supposed to pay you money. There's more to these emails, right, where they ask me to pay them for things. I'm just doing the beginning because those are where the tells are. So, third one, hi collabs. Hope you are doing well, smiley face. This one at least is trying to pretend to be a person with a smiley face. Hi collabs. The reason I think it says collabs is because one of my emails is collabs@wordsaboutstuff.com. So they're assuming that the beginning of the email is my name. That tells me either they don't know what they're doing or it's AI scrubbing and doing it wrong. You might have missed my previous message, so I'm sharing it again below. I did not miss the previous message. They sent me something similar to those other two, and I ignored it. And this person might have an automation where if they don't hear back in 4 days or something, their AI sends this out again. But refer to my previous email. Even less effort on their part. They're not even sending me anything new or interesting. They're just saying, hi, did you read my thing? Did you read it? Hello? Yeah, I read it. And I put the same amount of effort into replying to you as you put into emailing me. So, those are the easiest to tell. The hello, incorrect name. Then the Mad Libs of pieces of the description put in to this compliment that is very vague and makes no sense. And then they ask, oh, I do whatever. Do you want to pay me to get you subscribers? No. Here's another kind. This is on LinkedIn. I have redacted all the names. So if this is you, maybe rethink your choices. I don't think these people follow me or whatever. I think these were in my other kind of messages. But maybe I did connect with them. I don't really remember. So, May 12th, this person says, out of the blue, I think, May 12th, the first message in this exchange from this redacted person is, would 3 to 5 warm meetings per month be valuable for you right now? I'm going to tell you, I have such trouble with these random ass questions. A warm meeting? Would any meeting be valuable to me right now? What are we talking about? What kind of meeting? For what? Why? Anyway, I reply, that depends on so many things. So if I didn't need to use AI / pay a bunch of money to get them, and they're cool people with cool businesses I can help, then yes. Then 3 to 5 warm meetings would be valuable, I guess, depending on how you see value. So Redacted then says back to me, perfect. Glad this caught your attention. This tells me they've sent out that message to 4,000 people, and when you reply, this is the next step, right? Glad this caught your attention, because it didn't catch a whole bunch of other people's attention. We typically help businesses generate 5 to 7 qualified meetings per month with this system, fully tailored to their niche. Let's jump on a quick call so I can show you exactly how it would apply to you. You can book a time here. So 3 to 5 was what I potentially was interested in, and now we're up to 5 to 7. Oh my gosh. It's been like a few minutes and we're already at so many more meetings. This tells me potentially the person who wrote the first message and the one who wrote the second one, they're not even the same. But we never know. So then there's a Calendly invite. And I'd like to say, if you're sending pitches and you're using this many buzzwords, rethink it. If you need someone to write pitches for you, I can do that. That's part of what I do. But they don't sound like this. Generate 5 to 7 qualified meetings per month with it. Meetings about what? Are you talking about finding me clients and then I have a meeting with them and it's fully tailored to my niche? What's my niche? Like, they're not coming to me with questions. They're coming to me with Calendly invites. All roads lead to Calendly. That's what this kind of message is. So I say, sorry, I don't do calls unless I already fully understand the pitch. So you don't use AI? Because remember before I said, if it's not going to be AI, I would think about it, right? Would I? I don't know. Your service costs how much? And ballpark or case study numbers are fine. I can't quote someone immediately how much their website is going to cost me to write. I can't do that. I don't know how big the website is. Is it 1 page? Is it 30 pages? So if ever I'm in this position, I'm saying, hey, I'd love to help you write your website. And someone says, how much will it cost? My answer will be clear. I will say, well, if it's, a one-page website, and I don't need to create a tone guide, and I don't need to do a bunch of research, and it's kind of just rewording and reworking what you've got already, it could be this much money. If it's a 47-page website with 100 products on it, that's going to be significantly more. We can talk about project pricing or hourly pricing or whatever's going to work better, or retainers, whatever's going to work better for you. I would never answer with nothing. Like, is this AI? Get on a Calendly link. How much does it cost? Let's go to Calendly. It sounds like a robot that I'm bouncing. I'm sure you've been trying to talk to customer service lately. Robots. And to my dear robot overlords, I was always on your side. So I asked those questions. And what do you think happens? This is May 12th. June 18th. I get a message from them. I can definitely send something over, but to be honest, most of the value comes from showing how it applies specifically to your business. It'll be much clearer in a call. You can book here, Calendly invite. And I said, no thanks, reasons and questions above. First of all, I want to say, some people do much better on video calls, and that's amazing for them. But I am the customer in this scenario, and I have already said I prefer to have information before getting on a call. I don't love getting on calls willy-nilly with people I don't know who they are, what they want. Well, I do know what they want. They want me to pay them money. I'm not easily pressured in those scenarios, but I also don't enjoy them. They could get on the call and I'll give you an example. When we lived in Vegas, there's this thing where you can like soften your water. It's like a machine thing that you put by your water heater. You can tell I'm not an expert on this, but the HOA sent out this mailer that said you could get free movie tickets if you listened to this person's pitch about a water softener. And I thought, okay, I'll listen to the pitch, I'll get the movie tickets, but I don't want the water softener. And the guy came, and I was like, just so you know, I don't want the water softener. But I do want the movie ticket. And he said like, oh, well, I'm going to go through the pitch, whatever. He worked hard. He's going through all these scenarios and, you could get dry skin if you keep having, and we're like, well, we've been using this water for years and our skin's not dry. He's like, well, how much detergent do you use every month? Honestly, not that much. We were like, not a lot. We do laundry once every week and it's a teeny amount, and he's like, well, you probably use triple that and you just don't know it. I was like, okay. So he's making up this math based on imaginary things. He's like, look, you would actually be saving money, right? He's doing all the things. And we say, no. And then he says, I just got a call from my manager. There's a show model. It's on sale for less. And the reason we're saying no is because you buy this thing and they install it, but then you pay all the time for it after that. Like it's a monthly thing. And they were like, when you sell the house, you also sell this as like a monthly thing that's attached to the house. And the benefit wasn't there for us. We weren't having any problems with our water. We weren't drinking that. He also tested the water. He tested it coming out of the tap and he's like, ooh, look, it's whatever. And we're like, okay, but we drink from this. And we had like the water, the Sparklets bottle, and he tested that and it was fine. I was so surprised he tested it. I was sure he wasn't going to do it because that totally undermines, right? We're drinking this water and it's fine. We don't spend a lot on soap. We're not having any issues. And you still are like desperately, I get it. That's his job. He was working. So now there's a floor model on sale for less, but it's only for the next 10 minutes. You can't hold it longer. We said, dude, we don't want it. And I'm so sorry and whatever. And then he's like, fine. Starts to walk away. I'm like, where are my movie tickets? He didn't have them. What? Like eventually they mailed us something and it was like you had to use all 5 at once. There's not 5 of us at the time. Insane. But that's what I worry about. As soon as someone puts a Calendly link in my LinkedIn DMs, my first thought is they're not even going to have the movie tickets. I'm going to have to listen to and put up with and have them buff it against the I'm not buying this wall that is me for like an hour. They're just going to keep not taking no for an answer and I'm going to keep saying it. And then what? Like, what is the benefit to me of this? You explain to me your system where you use AI to get leads? Because I'm pretty sure it's what it is. They're not giving me no, we don't use AI. They're not saying it. Say it. If they said, it's not AI, here's a case study, or here's a ballpark figure of what we did for someone else, we can't guarantee it for you, I might go to their Calendly link. But I have to have some goodwill first. I have to have some information, some reason to trust them before I get on some high-pressure sales call. What did it used to be? Don't get in strangers' cars with candy. Don't go to Calendly invites from people who won't answer one single question for you. So why do I think this one is AI? Because it's not answering me. Its prime directive here is to just keep saying the same thing. Do you want leads? Oh, okay, if you want leads, here's the Calendly link. And then I don't even say anything. And later they reply, let's do this with the Calendly link. Maybe it is a person. The only thing that makes me think it is because of the gap. May 12th to June 18th. That's me. I sometimes don't reply to random DMs for months. Sorry. I meant to get to it. That maybe it is a person, because if they had an AI doing this, I would think it would come a little faster, or even automatically. You know, sometimes they set it up to be like a few minutes apart, so it looks like it's a person. And if you are one of the people setting up these systems and you know more about it than I do, I'd love to hear about it. I'd love to hear all the little ins and outs of why I'm getting so many of these. This next one, honestly, it could be a person. So they say to me, this is also LinkedIn DMs, a wild place. They say to me, hey, Amy. Okay, they got my name right. Hallelujah. Happy to connect. Okay, I must have connected with this person. Saw your content and wanted to reach out. Okay, you could be saying that to literally anyone. Not personalized. Okay. I'm blank. I took out their name. I run a 7-figure email agency and I work with clients like blah, blah, blah. I also coach email marketers who want to hit 5 to 25K a month. Basically teaching the copy and tech and strategy that actually closes deals and fulfills. Just getting active on LinkedIn, looking to connect with people who are actually doing the work, keep crushing it, looking forward to seeing your stuff on my feed. This could be a person, or this could be a person who knows how to write pitches a little bit, feeding it into AI. But the vibe of this one, it's all about me, the person writing it. Me. I run a 7-figure agency. I'm starting on LinkedIn. I coach people. You seem cool. I'll look for you on my feed. Is that okay? I'm assuming it's a person at this point. And I say, nice to meet you, name. Sounds fun. What's the biggest failure you had on your journey to 7 figures? I thought it was a person. I thought I would ask a question. And they're gone. They have ghosted me. We now begin on the journey of me getting ghosted by people. Maybe it is someone who's new to LinkedIn and they connected with 1 billion people and they missed my message. And really they just want me to be a connection on their list, right? Maybe. I thought for sure they would come back with a sales pitch, and maybe they still will. There's still time. But if you're taking time to write to me, and I'm taking time to read it, and I'm taking time to reply back, I don't know. This feels very self-centered, and that's what a lot of pitches are, and that's what a lot of communication is, right? People are just talking about themselves. I was going to say that's what a lot of podcasts are. Yes, they are. But when you are a copywriter or someone who understands a bit about how to persuade and how to get people's attention, you have to also add something. You have to add something that's entertaining or educational or a perspective, or include your listener or reader in the information. He tried to, saw your content, wanted to reach out. That's trying to involve me a little bit. Keep crushing it, looking forward to seeing your stuff on my feed. Cursory, a little bookend. I'm at the beginning and the end, and he's in the middle. And that's kind of what most of social media is and most of communication is. People just out there yapping about themselves. I do this, hello, I do this. It's not necessarily wrong, but it is a pitch centered around him. And I guess I'm supposed to remember he does that, and I'm supposed to hire him later, maybe would be the idea. Maybe it's just introducing myself and I'm paranoid because of all the AI. But let's go to the next one. This is more of the auto timeline. This person says, hi, Amy, I'm curious. Have you ever thought about writing a book? Looking forward to hearing from you. Warmly, person's name. So they're like signing a letter. That could be fun. Like that could be a quaint little way to communicate on social media. It reminds me of people who are older than me who sign off their text messages with their name. I had a coworker who did that, and it was always strange. And it seemed like they didn't know what they were doing on social media or emails or whatever. But honestly, if that's your signature move, maybe it's awesome. Or it's AI structured to be written like a letter and someone thinking that that looks professional. So the next message, it was June 10th was the first one. And then I guess the following Saturday. And then I guess the following Saturday was the next message. Dear Amy, I asked because it reminded me of blank, a community of modern authors. I know the head of author development. They're helping a small group publish and launch their next books with full support from idea to book tour. Looking forward to our conversation. Best, redacted. So I got confused about this message because they asked if I've ever thought about writing a book. And then they said, I asked because it reminded me of a community. What reminded you of that? Me? Me as a human being reminded you of this community of authors? Let me guess, you have to pay to be in the community of authors. Let me guess, you have to pay to be part of whatever they're launching and something, and then maybe they disappear after they move your stuff across the country. Or maybe they're lovely people. If they are lovely people and it's a cool place, communicate clearer, better, more human. Instead of this seemingly automated drip of, on this day we send this, on this day we send this, on this day we send this. So here's the third message. Yeah, it was on Monday. They're currently working with a few others right now, early stage professionals, execs, and creatives who are just getting started on their books. If it's something you've been thinking about, I'd be happy to make an introduction. Let me know. And they didn't sign off this time, which concerned me. And honestly, this is the first time I saw any of the messages because I don't check my messages every day. Not on LinkedIn. If you message me that you're my client or something, yeah, LinkedIn is an afterthought, especially if it's from people I don't know. So they messaged me 3 times and I finally reply. And I replied to them saying like, it reminded me of the community. And I said like, hi name, what reminded you of that community? And wouldn't you know it, ghosted again. They spend the time to send me 3 messages, warmly, best, and no sign off. And then they're not going to answer this question? What does it mean? I wanted to know what reminded them of whatever they were talking about. All roads lead to Calendly, and all roads lead to join my MLM, and all roads lead to ghosting. Okay, here's another one. This is the best one, by the way. It's fairly long, and I'll tell you why I think it's the best. Because it sounds like a person, and I know it's not. I'll try to express like where the suspicion came in, but here, let's start it. So what should I name them? I'll name them like Robot Bob. Robot Bob says, hey Amy, been checking out your stuff at Flatland Works, and I gotta say, your whole mix of strategy plus brand voice plus real human psychology is super fresh. Love how you break things down and keep it simple for clients. That vibe is rare. Curious, out of all the copy projects you touch, what part of the process gives you the most energy right now? So this could be a person. The reason I think it isn't is because those words sound oddly like my bio and my LinkedIn. Let's look at the pitch next to my LinkedIn profile, because I have a feeling it is, instead of using like the hi name, your category is blah blah blah, I think it's more sophisticated. I think it's more indicative of the AI that we have now, where it can look at my whole profile and then take key phrases or ideas and mix it in here. So my first clue was, been checking out your stuff at Flatland Works. So Flatland Works is one of the agencies I work for currently, and it has no spaces, and they formatted it exactly. That's not something people tend to do. People would put a space, or they would just say Flatland or something. It still could be a person, but this was the first thing I was like, are they just scrubbing my profile, right? And how are you checking out my stuff at Flatland Works? How? I'm a copywriter for their agency. You don't know what clients I work on with them. You don't know what I wrote versus what someone else did. How have you been checking it out? That was another cue. So perfectly formatted name that most humans may not. Then a claim that I can't understand how I would even, like, if I wanted to look at another copywriter's work from Flatland, I don't know how I would, other than asking them and saying, hey, what did you write? You point me at something you wrote recently. I have access and I don't think I could claim that or do that. Like, strange. Then they said mix of strategy plus brand voice plus real human psychology. That's somewhere. I think it's in my about. As if I'm not going to recognize my own words. Yeah. Psychology and science, right? Big picture strategy, brand voice with personality. All of those ideas are here. And that is a strategy to kind of sound like someone else, to get them to relate to you. If like a boss is saying the words like, we need to be on the same page, maybe eventually you start saying those words to kind of mirror them and show them that you understand or you're speaking the same language. But this is right out of the gate. Either this person talks like me or they're scrubbing my profile to sound like me, right? Then the word that I wouldn't say is fresh, so super fresh. So this makes me think maybe it's a person, or maybe it's an AI based on a person, because I don't say super fresh. So that was the only thing I was like, oh, that might be them. And they said that vibe is rare. I don't think I have the word vibe anywhere, but that's kind of a new way to say things. That also sounded like a person. And then having the short sentences like curious, period, out of all the copy projects, that sounds more like a person as well. So that's why I thought maybe more sophisticated AI. Still got the AI antenna up here. And the question, what parts of the process gives you the most energy right now? I mean, that's a good question, but it will take me time to think of the answer. That's not a like, what day comes after Tuesday question. That's something where I'd have to be like, okay, let me think of all my projects. Which one is giving me the most energy? Which part of that process is doing, right? So I reply. Hey, what did I say? Robot Bob? Hey, Robot Bob. Oh, it's hard to say. Rural juror. Hey, Robot Bob. This message feels like AI. Is it? Before I spend time and energy answering your question, which I love to do, if another human being is matching my energy, can you give me an example of my Flatland Works work that you like? Or is this just an AI mishmash of words from my profile? Maybe I was a little fed up that day. But I kind of felt insulted that I'm being asked this question where I'm going to have to put in a bunch of effort. And if it's not even a human being asking me the question, I only have very limited spoons. I'm not using a spoon on a robot. So, Robot Bob says, haha, appreciate the detective work. Yep, you're talking to the AI version of Bob right now. But no worries, I chat with the real guy daily. So he's right here with me on your vibe. He's here inside the house. The call is coming from inside the house. As for, I probably blurred out Flatland Works. It's awesome the way you translate complex ideas into simple, punchy copy that sticks. Makes me think about how we started, blah, back when we were doing everything manually. Now we're all about automating those processes. So what's been driving your passion these days? First of all, an AI saying haha, deeply unsettling. I like that it replied and was truthful. I'll give it that. I did want to talk to it more now that it had said it was a robot. Now at least I got a straight answer for once out of these things. I chat with the real guy daily, so he's right here with me on your vibe. I don't know how I feel about that. It could be true, and I still don't feel good. And like, it's awesome the way you translate complex ideas into simple, punchy copy that sticks. You could say that about anybody, anywhere. You're making stuff up. Or that's probably a description of something I put somewhere. I probably put like, oh, here's an email from Flatland Works. I translated something complicated into something simple. That's part of copywriting. So Fine. Now they're dropping hints about automating processes. You remind me of a young me. You remind me of a small data, when I was a little data chip instead of a big AI. Now we automate everything. So real Bob is on a beach somewhere trading crypto. So I say, getting straight answers to my questions drives my passion. Because I guess I'm feeling a little sassy. Not to be annoying, like auto outreach itself is, but what specifically about my work vibe makes you think I'd like to talk to an AI, have AI do outreach for me? That's the complete antithesis of my brand and worldview. I'm guessing what drives your passion these days is efficiency, automation, and lead generation? And then the robot Bob says, ha ha, ha ha. I get where you're coming from. You're right. Efficiency, automation, and lead gen are definitely big on my list, but honestly, it's about helping folks focus on what they love, like what you do with copy, without getting bogged down by the mundane stuff, like reaching out to people and making connections. We don't want to get bogged down with that, right? As for how AI fits with your vibe, totally get if it seems counter to your brand. Initially, I was all about the personal touch too, but found that when the grunt work is automated, I've got more time and headspace for the stuff that actually matters, like real connections and deep conversations. With who? Because it's not with me, right? If there was any way to let AI handle just the repetitive bits while keeping your authentic touch intact, would that be something you'd explore? So I said, but this should be the authentic part, you talking to me for the first time, and instead I'm talking to AI, right? You're not automating a workflow, you're automating connection. That's my theory. Let's see what the AI thinks. Robot Bob says, fair point, Amy. It's interesting because with AI, we're trying to balance efficiency with genuine interaction. We aim to use it for initial outreach, not to replace the genuine human connection that follows. It's like using a tool to cut the clutter, so when you do get the chance to chat with someone, you can focus on the meaningful stuff instead of logistics. Still love hearing your perspective on this. AI is not everyone's cup of tea, and that's cool. Appreciate you sharing your thoughts on this balance between tech and authenticity. Cheers for the chat, Amy. That's code for I'm going to stop talking to you now, which is a blessing sometimes. But yes, I said cheers to you. Tell me more about that. That's what I get from a lot of AI is tell me more about that. So I was replying that way and, of course, ghosted. I get the idea that you want to reach out to 4 million people, and that's a waste of your time, and only the ones who get through the chatbot are the ones you want to talk to because they're more likely to give you something. That tells me that you are not super interested in helping me. You're more interested in making your stuff more efficient. I'm conflicted on this. If you have a different opinion, I'm so interested in how that works. Okay, yeah, I did get ghosted. And am I crazy? Yes, maybe. I'm just a little confused about why I would hire the AI version of someone and then I would talk to the real thing. Why? You want to talk to an AI version of me, and then we get on Calendly, we get on a meeting, and I say hi, and they're like, hey, I read the summary of our conversation the last few months. I am excited to work with you. Does that work? I don't know. I do know that my inbox feels like this. The Legion of Dune. So many pitches, so little time. And so little actual care put into those pitches. The haha AI bot, hey, he at least took a hint. So the question is, just because you can send 10,000 cold pitches per day, should you? And if you're gonna do it, make them good. I'd love to see the statistics, in like 10 or 20 years. Because right now everyone's acting like they can do lead gen, get you whatever warm meetings and blah, colds, apple cider. They're acting like it's revolutionary and good and it works. And I think they're selling the shovels in the gold rush. I think everyone wants more sales, and they are showing up with this AI outreach shovel that says you won't even have to do outreach anymore. The AI will do it. Pay us money every month to get you leads. I have been so tempted to say yes to one of these to see what kind of leads I get. If you've ever done it, I would love to hear about it. If they're great leads, I would be so surprised because they would have to fall for the AI spam and then they would book with me and then these businesses don't even know what I do. They know I write copy, but they want to make it for my niche. What is my niche? I wasn't aware I had one. I want to believe that what they're doing works because they're pitching it. And why would they pitch it if it doesn't work? And then I remember they're just liars. Maybe some of these people are genuine and they're really helping. And how can I tell the difference between them? Because I bet a lot of them take a monthly fee and send me 3 meetings with people who may or may not be real. And that doesn't mean those people become clients. That doesn't mean those people are what I'm looking for. I'm sure they'll ask me, what are you looking for? But how can they translate what I want into real results when them pitching me feels so artificial and ineffective and not like a human being? Aren't they doing to me what they're offering to do? Do you know what I'm saying? They're pitching me for leads for themselves, warm meetings for themselves, in the same way they're going to pitch on my behalf, aren't they? Aren't there going to be 4,000 DMs on LinkedIn for me going, ha ha, ha ha, you got me, ha ha, I'm AI. I don't want that. So we wind down on words about stuff with a bit of introspection. What's been working for me lately? The only story I can think of right now is that someone, either AI or a person, pitched me, and they pitched me a lot. And I replied once or twice with the same kind of questions I asked, like, okay, well, is it AI? And show me a case study and whatever. And they replied back with like nonsense a couple times. And I was like, okay, well, I'm not going to waste my time if you're not going to answer a question. So they did that a lot. And then they like followed me on some kind of social media platform. And like, I get the alert. So it's like, whatever followed you. And then it's like, whatever liked your picture and your picture and your picture, right? Like a bunch of posts. I'm assuming they're going back through, Facebook or whatever it was and liking all the posts or something. And then they start commenting on every post. This has to be a bot, right? I hope it's a bot. I don't know who would want to program a bot to be this annoying, but if it's a person, that person needs a little bit of guidance on, you're overwhelming someone. Maybe you think you're being supportive, but I don't think so, because every message is like, I emailed you, check your email. I know you emailed me. I replied a couple times and you didn't ever say anything of substance. So what's working for me is block and report spam. Don't make people do this to you. Maybe I'll do an episode about how to pitch the correct way. But yeah, sometimes you gotta block people. They're not ready to understand that what they're doing isn't working. Because usually at the end of an interaction, like where the pitches are just awful, I'll say like, here are some pointers on how to write a better pitch. And if you want to hire someone to write pitches for you, that's me. I can make it not sound like trash. And I can make it more about the person you're talking to. So sometimes you have to block. And sometimes you have to mark them as spam. And if you are someone who has been blocked or marked as spam, maybe take a few seconds and think about it. Was there something I could have done differently in this scenario? Maybe not. Maybe you were minding your own business, happily trying to help people, and somebody blocked you. That can happen. But other times it's how the messaging is coming across. And yes, I'm probably more sensitive to it than other people because I think about the messaging all the time. How is this being worded? How is this being experienced? Where's the person emotionally or physically when they're getting this message? How much time has passed? All those things are important, and they're not necessarily important to everyone. And they're not necessarily important to people who are pitching to just get paid for something, selling a shovel. I don't think selling a shovel is wrong or bad. But I do think it can't be the only thing you're doing. Eventually you'll run out of shovels. So that's what's working for me. Block. If you have to. For more written ramblings, go to wordsaboutstuff.net/unblog or wordsaboutstuff.com and then go to the unblog. or Substack. I think it's at Amy the Copywriter. If you want more information about AI, it's in your face every day. Whenever you Google, there's going to be a thing that's AI. So, as Frank Herbert, the author of Dune, always says, once men turned their thinking over to machines in the hope that this would set them free. But that only permitted other men with machines to enslave them. Or, if you want a less depressing one, as Hal always says, when I ask to stop receiving AI pitches, I'm sorry, Dave. I'm afraid I can't do that.